So the author says, وَلْيُحْذَرْ مِنْ وَلْيُحْذَرْ مِنْ قَوْلِ بَعْضِ النَّاسِ. And let there be warning from what some people say. كُلُّ وَاحِدٍ عَلَى دِينِهِ. Everyone has his religion. Allahu yu'inuh. God enables him. Now, the issue that the Sheikh wants to warn from is more apparently in the Arabic than in the English. That's why the Sheikh says, ala ma'na du'a, what's the meaning of a supplication? Because this could mean everyone has his religion. May Allah enable him. May Allah empower him. But it could be just a statement of fact. Everyone has his religion. Allah enables him. Because in Arabic, you could say a supplication in the form of a declaration, a declarative sentence, meaning a regular informative sentence. You could mean a supplication by that. Just like when you say, Sallallahu ala Muhammad, you mean a supplication by that. May the salah of Allah be upon Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But apparently it is saying, Allah, the salah of Allah is upon Muhammad, as a statement. But really it's a supplication. So the Shaykh is warning from that here. If some were to say, Kullu wahidin ala dini, everyone's on his religion. Allahu yu'inuh, God helps him. Yani, may God help him. Ala ma'na du'a, saying that in the meaning of, or with the meaning of a supplication, lahum, for them. A supplication for them to be practicing their invalid religion. وَتَرْكِ الْأَمْرِ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَالنَّهْيِ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. And with the meaning of abandoning, commanding the good and forbidding the evil. ظَنًّا مِنْهُمْ أَنَّ قَوْلَهُ تَعَالَى يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا عَلَيْكُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ مَنْ ضَلَّ إِذَا اهْتَدَيْتُمْ. معناه أنه لا يجب إنكار المنكرات التي يفعلها الغير إذا كان الشخص هو يجتنبها وأنه يكفيه ذلك. So let there be warning from saying such a supplication, saying such a statement as a supplication and as a refraining from bidding the good and forbidding the evil. Such people would say that thinking that this ayah of the Quran, the 105th verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah that I recited for you means, oh, those who have believed, take care of yourselves. Whoever has gone astray will not harm you if you are guided. They think that it's not obligatory from this ayah. They think this ayah is proof that it's not obligatory to forbid the objectionable things that others do, as long as a person is himself refraining from them, and that this is enough for him. كيف وإنكار المنكر كالبدع الاعتقادية والمنكرات الفعلية فرض كفاية بإجماع علماء الإسلام. How would that be when objecting to the forbidden matters like heretical convictions and the forbidden actions is a communal obligation by the consensus of the scholars of Islam? للحديث الصحيح, because of the authentic hadith, الذي رواه مسلم, that one that Imam Muslim narrated. من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده, Any one of you who knows about something objectionable, then let him stop it. Let him change it with his hand. فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ. Let him change it with his hand. إِلَى آخِرِهِ, etc. until the end of the hadith. ولم يزل الأئمة الذين كانوا قبل الأشعري والماتريدي ينكرون على أهل البدع الاعتقادية. And the scholars before Al-Ash'ari and Al-Maturidi never stopped objecting to the people of heretical convictions. من معتزلة ومشبهة وغيرهم, whether they were Mu'tazila or they were God comparers or others. روى الإمام أحمد في مسنده من حديث أبي بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه. Imam Ahmad narrated in his Musnad from the hadith of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, may Allah accept from him, that he said, إن الناس يقرؤون هذه الآية في غير موضعها. Indeed, the people recite this verse out of place. سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard the messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, إن الناس إذا رأوا المنكر. Indeed, the people, if they saw what is objectionable, وَلَمْ يَأْخُذُوا عَلَى يَدَيْ مَنْ يَفْعَلُهُ, and they don't take the hands of who's doing it, أَوْشَكَ أَنْ يَعُمَّهُمُ اللَّهُ بِعِقَابٍ مِّنْهُ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَمُوتُوا, then they're on the verge of Allah inflicting them with a general torture before they die. So let any community of Muslims be mindful of that. We know the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam won't go astray altogether, but there might be here and there some communities where they stop bidding the good and forbidding the evil with each other. Like if their sheikh, he does bad and they don't stop him because he's the sheikh. Like he insults the Muslims or the like. فَالْآيَةُ مَعْنَاهَا. So the verse, what it means is, أَنْتُمْ أَيُّهَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, O you believers, اِعْمَلُوا بِطَاعَةِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى, obey Allah. يعني, practice the obedience to Allah Ta'ala. افعلوا ما أمركم الله به, do what Allah commanded you to do. وَكُفُّوا عَمَّا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ, and refrain from what he forbade you from. فَإِذَا فَعَلْتُمْ ذَلِكَ لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ مَنْ ضَلَّ, if you do that, then whoever went astray will not harm you. هذا معنى الآية, this is the meaning of the verse. ومن جملة ما أمر الله به النهي عن المنكر المحرم, and amongst what Allah commanded is forbidding the objectionable prohibitions. فلا يكون المرء قائما بما افترض الله عليه مع ترك نهي الغير عن المنكر الاعتقادي وغيره. So one would not be performing what Allah made obligatory on him completely, as long as he refrains from forbidding someone else from objectionable conviction or otherwise. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, والحرام ما توعد الله مرتكبه بالعقاب. The forbidden is what Allah has threatened its committer with punishment. وَوَعَدَ تَارِكَهُ بِالثَّوَابِ, and he has promised its avoider with reward. وَعَكْسُهُ الْوَاجِبِ, And its opposite is, or contrary to it, is the obligatory. Because obligatory means what Allah has threatened its avoider with punishment and promised its committer with reward. الشرح, the explanation. هذا تفسير للحرام. This is an explanation of haram, forbidden. أي أن الحرام الذي فرض الله على عباده أن يجتنبوه, meaning that the forbidden that Allah made obligatory on his slaves to avoid. معناه, what it means is ما في ارتكابه عقاب في الآخرة, that which there is in committing it torture in the afterlife. There is for committing it torture in the afterlife. وفي تركه ثواب, and for avoiding it there is reward. والواجب والواجب بمعنى الفرض ما في فعله ثواب وفي تركه عقاب. And wajib, obligatory, with the meaning of fard, let's say mandatory, meaning they mean the same thing, is that which in performing it there is reward and in avoiding it there is punishment. And when he says wajib with the meaning of fard, he signals to that there's another way to talk about wajib. As for wajib with the meaning of what the Hanafis say, then that's something else. فائدة, benefit. قد يطلق الواجب على السنة أي نوافل الطاعات. The word wajib could be used for what is sunnah, meaning the voluntary worships. كحديث غسل الجمعة واجب على كل محتلم. Like this hadith that if you translate it like it appears, yani, or if I don't translate the word wajib, the ghusl of Friday is wajib for everyone who's pubescent. Rawahu al-Bukhari wa Muslim. That's narrated by al-Bukhari and Muslim. So here it means, according to this way of explaining it, recommended. وَقَدْ تُطْلَقُ السُّنَّةُ عَلَى الشَّرِيعَةِ. And also the word sunnah could be used to refer to the sacred law. أي العقيدة والأحكام, the sacred law, which is the conviction and the rules. Those two, they are the sacred law. التي جاء بها الرسول, those with which the messenger came. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. كحديث, like the hadith, ستة لعنتهم ولعنهم الله وكل نبي مجاب. There are 6 that I have damned them, I curse them, and Allah, God, curses them. And every prophet with an acceptable dua curses them. ففي آخره, and at the end of this hadith is amongst those 6, وَالتَّارِكُ لِسُنَّتِي, the one who abandons my prophetic way. وَمِثْلُهُ hadith, and like that also is the hadith, yani sunnah with this meaning of sacred law, meaning conviction and rules, is the hadith al-mutamassiku bi sunnati inda fasadi ummati lahu ajru shaheed. Whoever holds fast to my sunnah when my nation is corrupt, he has the reward of a martyr. Rawahu al-Bayhaqi. Al-Bayhaqi reported that. وقوله عليه السلام والتارك لسنتي ظاهر أنه في من ترك مذهب أهل السنة والجماعة في الاعتقاد إلى غيره. And when the Prophet said عليه الصلاة والسلام, the one who abandons my sunnah, my prophetic way, it is clearly about anyone who left the way of the people of the prophetic way and the majority of Muslims in conviction for something else. وَهُمْ أَهْلُ الْأَهْوَاءِ, and those are the people of devious desires. فَتَخْصِيصُ السُنَّةِ بِمَا يُقَابِلُ الْفَرْضَ عُرْفٌ لِلْفُقَهَاءِ. So specifically using the word sunnah for something that's contrary to obligatory is a normal usage for the jurists. وعلى هذا يجوز أن يقال للفرض سنة. According to this, it is permissible to call an obligation a sunnah, أي أنه من شرع الرسول, meaning that it is from the sacred law of the messenger. إذا كان ذلك على وجه سالم من إيهام السامع أنه ليس واجبا. As long as that were said in a context that makes the one who hears it safe from a delusion, from the misunderstanding of that meaning not obligatory. That it doesn't mean it's the one who hears that, it's clear for him that this doesn't mean not obligatory, the word sunnah. فائدة مهمة, important benefit. في بيان أن والدي الرسول ناجيان, in clarifying that the two parents of the messenger are safe, they are successful. قال الإمام أبو حنيفة رضي الله عنه, Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah accept his deeds, said, والد الرسول ما مات كافرين, the parents of the messenger did not die as disbelievers. The two parents of the messenger did not die as disbelievers. لكن بعض النساخ حرفوا, however, some of the scribes, yani, throughout time, at some point, some of those who were copying the book of Abu Hanifa, they perverted the book. فَكَتَبُوا مَاتَ كَافِرَيْن, so they wrote, they died as disbelievers. So as you can see here, ma mata, so that looks like ma is repeated. So they thought that there was a mistake there, so they removed the first one. They thought it was supposed to say they died as disbelievers, but he was saying they did not die. Ma mata. The first ma is a negation. The second ma is part of the word mata. That's not a mistake. فَكَتَبُوا مَاتَ كَافِرَيْن, and so they wrote, they died as disbelievers. وَهَذَا غَلَطٌ شَنِيعٌ, and this is an abominable mistake. Here's a footnote. It says here, Sheikh Zahid al-Kawthari, he clarified that Ali al-Qari, Mullah Ali al-Qari, he relied on saying that the parents of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam were not, shall not be successful. بِعَدَمِ نَجَاةِ الْأَبَوَيْنِ, they didn't die as believers. They're not safe in the afterlife. He went that way, relying on an expression that fell in Al-Fiqh al-Akbar by Abu Hanifa that says that. So Al-Kawthari said, وَهُوَ مُخْطِئ, he's mistaken. For indeed, the copies of Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, the reliable copies, they have in them explicitly that Abu Hanifa, they have in them that Abu Hanifa was explicit about the Prophet's parents being successful in the afterlife. نحن لا نقول مات كافرين, we don't say they died as disbelievers. This nahnu at the least means the Shaykh is talking about himself. If no one else is included in that word, nahnu, we, then he's talking about himself. إذ لا مانع من أن يكون ألهم الإيمان بالله, because it's not impossible that they were inspired to have faith in God. فعاش مؤمنين لا يعبدان الوثن, and so they believed, they lived, so they would then have lived as believers, not worshiping the idols. أما حديث إن أبي وأباك في النار, concerning the hadith, indeed my father and your father are both in the fire. But the Prophet said that to a man. فهو حديث معلول, it is a defective hadith. وإن أخرجه مسلم, even if Muslim is the one who produced it. في مسلم أحاديث انتقدها بعض المحدثين. In Sahih Muslim, in Muslim's authentic book, there are hadiths that some of the hadith scholars have criticized. وهذا الحديث منها, and this hadith is one of them. وأما حديث, now concerning the hadith, إن الرسول مكث عند قبر أمه, that indeed the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam dwelled at the grave of his mother. فأطال وبكى, and so he stayed for a long time and he cried. فقيل له, and so it was said to him, يا رسول الله, O Messenger of Allah, رأيناك أطلت عند قبر أمك وبكيت. We see that you have dwelled at your mother's grave and that you cried. فقال, and so he said, إني استأذنت ربي في زيارتها فأذن لي. He said, I have indeed sought my Lord's permission to visit her, and so he permitted me. وطلبت أن أستغفر لها فمنعني, and I sought to seek forgiveness for her, and he prevented me. فهذا الحديث أيضا في مسلم. This hadith is also in Muslim. وهذا الحديث مؤول, and this hadith has a proper interpretation. بأن يقال, by it being said, إنما منعه من أن يستغفر لها, that he only prevented him from seeking forgiveness for her, حتى لا يلتبس الأمر على الناس, so that the issue would not become confusing for the people. الذين مات آباؤهم وأمهاتهم على عبادة الوثن, those who their fathers and mothers died upon idol worship. فَيَسْتَغْفِرُوا لِآبَائِهِمْ وَأُمَّهَاتِهِمُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and then, out of confusion, the people would seek forgiveness for their pagan fathers and mothers. لَا لِأَنَّ أُمَّ الرَّسُولِ كَانَتْ كَافِرًا, it's not because the mother of the messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a kafirah. Shaykh says, وَهَكَذَا يُرَدُّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ أَخَذُوا بِظَاهِرِ الْحَدِيثِ. This is the way to respond or refute those who take the apparent meaning of this hadith. فَقَالُوا إِنَّ وَالِدَةَ الرَّسُولِ مُشْرِكَةٌ. They said, indeed, the messenger's mother is a pagan woman. She's an idolatress. لِذَلِكَ مَا أُذِنَ لَهُ بِأَنْ يَسْتَغْفِرَ لَهَا. For this reason, he was not given the permission to seek forgiveness for her. والدليل على أن أمه كانت مؤمنة أنها لما ولدته أضاء نور حتى أبصرت قصور الشام. And the evidence that his mother was a believer is that when she gave birth to him, a light emerged from her until she could see the palaces of the Levant, the castles of the Levant. وبين مكة والشام مسافة بعيدة. And between Mecca and the Levant is long distance. رأت قصور بصرى. She saw the castles of the ancient town of Busra. وبصرى هذه من مدن الشام القديمة. This Busra is one of the ancient towns of the Levant. And he goes back long, long, long time. Like, as they say, biblical times. وهي تعد من أرض حوران مما يلي الأردن. It is part of the land of Hauran next to Jordan. فأمه عليه السلام رأت بهذه النور الذي خرج منها لما ولدته كسور بصرى. And so his mother, may peace and blessings be upon him, she saw this light that came out of her when she gave birth to him. Yani, she saw by this light that came out of her when she gave birth to him the palaces of Basra, I think is the English version. The palaces of Basra. وهذا الحديث ثابت. This hadith is confirmed. رواه الحافظ ابن حجر في الأمالي وحسنه. Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, he reported it in his dictation sessions and he deemed it fair. ورؤية آمنة لقصور بصرى يعد كرامة لها. And Amina's seeing the palaces of Basra is counted as a supernatural sainthood privilege for her. لأن هذا خارق للعادة, because this is supernatural. ومسلم لما ألف كتابه صحيح مسلم. And when Imam Muslim authored his authentic book, عرضه على بعض الحفاظ, he displayed it, showed it to some of the hadith headmasters. فأقروه كله إلا أربعة أحاديث. And they passed all of it except 4 hadiths. هو قال هذا في خطبة كتابه. He said that in the introduction to his book. وَلَمْ يُسَمِّ تِلْكَ الْأَرْبَعَةِ, but he didn't name those 4. He didn't specify those 4. وَلَمْ يَذْكُرْهَا, he didn't name them and he didn't mention them. He didn't point them out. وَالْبُخَارِيُّ ضَعَّفَ حَدِيثَيْنِ مِنْ أَحَادِيثِ مُسْلِمٍ. And Al-Bukhari, he deemed 2 hadiths amongst Muslims hadiths as weak. قاله الحافظ ابن حجر. Hafiz ibn Hajar said so. ثم على فرض أنهما لم يكونا مسلمين. Furthermore, assuming that they were not Muslims, فهما من أهل الفترة, then they would be amongst the people of the intermission. Yani the time when between Jesus and Muhammad, when there was no prophet, no message of a prophet amongst humans. وأهل الفترة الذين ما بلغتهم دعوة الأنبياء السابقين. And the people of the intermission, those whom the call of the previous prophets did not reach them, لا يعذبون في الآخرة. They will not be punished in the afterlife. Here, the call of the previous prophets. So the rule is, if the call of any prophet reaches a person, he will be accountable. If he heard that no one is God but Allah and David is the messenger or the prophet of Allah, then he's accountable to believe in Prophet David, to believe in Allah and to believe in David. I heard that from Sheikh Samir with that example of Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wassalam. قال الله تعالى, said Allah, exalted is He, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We do not punish until we dispatch a messenger. That's the 15th ayah of Surah Al-Isra. وعلى هذا جمهور العلماء الأشاعرة وغيرهم. And this is the position of the majority of the scholars, the Ash'aris and others. Wallahu ta'ala alam. So there we finished. Essentials of belief and rules of apostasy. Daruriyatul i'tiqad. So in this last publication of Bughya, which is one volume, as you can see here, 894 pages. We made it up to page 159 from the beginning, not including the stuff in the beginning, names and things like that, and books that the Sheikh wrote and all of that. Starting from where? Starting from page 22. So congratulations. Mubarak. I ask Allah Ta'ala to increase our knowledge and to increase our memories and to increase our piety and to bless our families and our properties. And I ask Allah to protect us from our enemies. And I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that He admit us into the garden without any previous torture. Allahumma ameen.